we'd like to formally announce a Slice of Gaming podcast has finally been acquired by Microsoft after 2 long years. Welcome to a Slice of Gaming podcast for October 13th, 2023. And we'd like to thank you for giving a slice of your time to a Slice of Gaming podcast. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Rest in Peace, and Audible. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming. So we got like the big news article this week that we'll get to. I'm sure that'll be the first thing on the docket that we'll get to. So we'll talk about that when we get there. But I don't know anymore. So we're just going to move on to the intros because I completely lost my train of thought. Anyway. So let's get to the intro of...
Follow us on Twitter. And
I said that.
Anime. No, you didn't.
I didn't say the anime part, but I did say the Twitter part. Anyway, it's your choom already here. It's Bench.
Bench just died afterwards.
This is a horrible podcast.
Hello. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, I cut out for a quick second, but yeah.
This is going great. All right.
We're
hunting for that wonder
obviously.
flower seed. It's Wolf.
You talked over my intro. Hi, what's up?
And deciphering the lies of P that have been told. It's Dark.
Hey, how's it going?
And your local Elephant Peach admirer. It's Chat.
Hello. 1 week left.
Oh, wait, you're talking about Spider-Man? I was like, wait, what are you talking about?
Mario is the same day as Spider-Man.
True, yeah, Mario too,
Yeah.
And then, even though he's not here today, we want to wish our local Ubisoft-loving and Silksong believing Fusion a good happy birthday today.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday, Fusion.
Birthday.
All right.
This one's for you, Fusion.
This one's for you. We dedicate the episode to Fusion, and of course, the podcast that started off horribly is the one that's dedicated to him. All right, well, let's get on over to... So let's just move on over to the news. Yes, Wolf with the news. I'm trying to read chat to my brain cannot operate both at the same time.
It's okay, man. You're
Move on over to the
news. This is our first podcast. Like Moon said, the certain big acquisition happened. Something that's been in the works for quite a long time.
20
months.
Now.
20 months, exactly. 20 months of legal proceedings, of hearing about bullshit from the FTC, the CMA, a lot of skepticism, Jim Ryan taking the stand, but we're here. We made it.
And then immediately leaving afterwards.
We made it.
It doesn't feel real.
The Activision Blizzard deal is complete. I got this from Tom Warren over at The Verge. Microsoft completes Activision Blizzard acquisition. Call of Duty now part of Xbox. Microsoft has finalized its $68.7 billion deal to acquire Activision Blizzard, the publisher of Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Diablo. The Verge exclusively reported last week that Microsoft was planning to close today, and now it's official. The acquisition required 20 months of battles with regulators in the UK and US, but Microsoft has closed its Activision Blizzard deal after defeating, I love the way he words this, after defeating the Federal Trade Commission, like they're a fucking Doom enemy or something. But yeah, in a U.S. federal court and restructuring the deal to appease the competition and markets authorities, aka the CMA in the UK. Phil Spencer actually tweeted this out. This is in the article. Today is a good day to play. We officially welcome Activision Blizzard King to Team Xbox. Together we'll create stories and experiences that bring players together in a culture empowering everyone to do their best work and celebrate diverse perspectives. So obviously, I think our first reaction is, oh, thank God. I feel like even if you were opposed to the deal, if you were for the deal, everyone can agree on one thing. This took way too fucking long, to the point of us thinking that it started affecting both PlayStation and Xbox's plans for releases. That's how ridiculous it got. But we are here. We made it. What's our initial reactions?
Well, actually, I have some thoughts on the overall announcement of the deal and just the overall process. Microsoft is very good at turning consumers to their side. They had a hype trailer for a company acquisition, which I thought was very weird.
I didn't do that. That's so stupid.
It was a Jeff Keighley-esque hype trailer as well. He could have edited
That's
it.
That's right. We own Call of Duty. I'm like, okay, guys.
And then
you have to keep in... Oh, my bad for cutting you off. But you have to keep in mind that most people don't really know that this is going on. So the trailer is more for them than for us.
I mean, I booted up my Xbox today. I saw they acquire Activision Blizzard King. First thing I see when I boot up the Xbox.
Really? Is it?
I mean,
Is it
it's
there?
just, yeah, it's there.
I did not see
Why?
that. Hold on, I played
Wasn't there for
Fortnite
me.
earlier. I did not see it there. Hold on, I'm gonna put
Oh,
it
it
on
was
my
there
Xbox
for
now.
me. It was on the
You probably
homepage. I
booted-
mean,
When did you
and
guys
then
boot up
at
your
the end of the hype
Xboxes?
trailer, it's
I'm playing it right now,
at
bro.
the
I
end of the
don't see the
trailer.
shit.
It's
Well,
the
I
end of
didn't
the
turn on my
trailer,
Xbox today. I'm a Sony pony.
Activision Blizzard King plus you.
Plus you.
Specifically
Plus me.
that-
We've
Plus
been
you.
We're being
acquired.
acquired.
Yeah,
This is
so
the
We've all
worst.
been
I don't know.
acquired by Microsoft.
Well, I'm super happy the deal runs off, and it's happened all throughout the deal. Microsoft using their more of a happy face kind of turned consumers onto their side, and for them it obviously worked. I don't know, just looking at it at the big picture, and especially as how they're handling the announcement of the deal, it's just a little weird if you ask me.
It's just them taking their victory lap.
I mean,
Yeah,
after
I
20
get-
months,
yeah.
I feel like they're just like, guys, it's over. Like, this is
Yeah.
it.
I just
Like,
need-
they want people to view this deal as a good thing, like, without any, like, fear of, like, market consolidation, which is, like, a lot of the fears of people when it was first announced. Now they're like, hey, guys, don't worry. Like, we're adding all these games to Game Pass, most likely. Like, no official word on, like, what games will be added to Game Pass. It's probably going to happen this weekend. I think we can all assume that, like, some games will be added eventually.
I mean, there were people who were like, oh yeah, as soon as it drops, they're gonna do the first wave like the next morning. I went to bed last night thinking I'm gonna wake up, it's like it's Christmas morning. There's gonna be a bunch of EA titles on Game Pass. Nope, nothing was there.
What, EA?
No.
What? Hang on, wrong company.
Yeah, wrong company,
Yeah,
Activision, sorry.
2 days.
I get EA and Activision mixed up a lot.
Well, the deal also
they're
didn't close
not-
until like 9 this morning, so it's not like it closed during the night. But I'm also curious if they're gonna will we get a round table, and will we get games this weekend? Is the big question. Because
I don't think so. There was that
I don't
tweet
think
from
we
I
get
can't
games
remember
this
who
weekend.
it was, but they said we're gonna start working on getting games on Game Pass in the following months. So
Oh yeah, because it's not
I'd
gonna be
say-
one
that's
drop.
probably just like they're gonna do waves. That's the thing.
yeah,
Listen, if
Yeah.
but I don't think
I'm
the
just
first
saying, if
wave is gonna be until like November, December.
I'm just saying, if Prototype is in the first wave, that would be really funny. Like, that's the only game they put on Game Pass. Like, let's just think about that. That would be pretty funny, right?
And just one, not two.
Okay,
I
guys.
don't
So
know.
I thought it's funny. Like, I think it would be really funny if Prototype was the only game they added. But
I'm
speaking
leaning
of
on the
games,
side. I'm
Go
leaning on
ahead.
the side we don't get games for the next couple weeks for them. I think it's not going to be as fast, and hopefully we get a round table because I really liked that from
well,
at Blizzard. I mean,
there are
Bethesda.
there are two games that we know that we aren't going to be getting, or we are getting, we don't know for sure. Activision Blizzard actually tweeted this out themselves. This wasn't before the deal closing, I should mention, October 9th or so, earlier this week. It's awesome to see anticipation building for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. As we continue to work towards regulatory approval of the Microsoft deal, we've been getting some questions whether our upcoming and recently launched games will be available via Game Pass. While we do not have plans to put Modern Warfare 3 or Diablo 4 into Game Pass this year, specifically singling out those two games, once the deal closes, we expect to start working with Xbox to bring our titles to more players around the world, and we anticipate that we will begin adding games into Game Pass sometime in the course of next year. So Call of Duty, I'm not too surprised about. That still has the PlayStation marketing deal, so I think they kind of want to that's probably going to hold out for a little longer. Diablo, I'm actually a little surprised about. I feel like they would have kind of put that on as like a big, hey, look, Diablo 4. This is a game that released this year, now on Game Pass.
But I think about that.
Yeah.
Does it really matter?
They tweeted this. I mean, they also tweeted this before the deal closed.
Yeah,
so I
Xbox
mean,
has
Microsoft
control
can
now.
make any decision they want now.
They can do whatever they feel like
Like
with Diablo.
I don't think. I think Diablo 4 will end up on Game Pass by the end of this year. Maybe it'll be really late towards the Christmas time to get those Xbox Christmas gifts. Just like you boot it up in Game Pass, you get like Diablo and stuff and other games. I don't know if Call of Duty will end up, but I'm pretty confident that Diablo could end up on Game Pass this year.
So
you
Call of
calling
Duty
Bobby
legally
Kotick a
cannot.
liar?
Come on. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Call of
I
Duty
don't know.
legally can't because of the
Maybe-
PlayStation deal. But there's nothing blocking Diablo.
Yeah,
That's just Activision talking. But now Activision doesn't have a say because Phil owns everything. So
Well,
Like,
and
there
Diablo
is.
needs all the help I can get. So that game
They
kinda
could wait
killed
until
itself.
like Black Friday's over. They could wait until Black
Yeah.
Friday's over and then like put it early December.
Oh yeah, that's like the sneaky move to do there. It's like get as much money as you can from people buying it on like Black Friday deals, and then you're like 2 weeks later, oh yeah, Diablo 4 is now on Game Pass. Merry Christmas, everyone.
You have a new season announced at like the Game Awards, and it says Game Pass on the side or whatever.
That sounds like a big brain marketing stunt. I'm for it.
Interesting. So we mentioned Bobby Kotick earlier, and we all assumed that Bobby Kotick would immediately leave, good riddance type deal. But we learned this. Whereas 64 had this, Bobby Kotick sent an open letter to the community, but the major quote here from Bobby Kotick: Phil has asked me to stay on as CEO of Activision Blizzard King, reporting to him, and we have agreed that I will do that through the end of 2023. So very much by January 1st, Phil gets into his office. It's like, okay, you can leave now.
Get out. Here's your box.
So
yeah,
we actually knew before that he was contracted to stay until like April of next year before like his contract renewed. So Phil's actually shortening it. Yeah. So
it's either
I just find that interesting that it's
agreement
by like the calendar year, not the fiscal year, which is like almost no business actually. At least big businesses don't operate by the calendar year, which I don't know why it's cut like this.
It could be that like he does wait until April of the next year, but like for now he's like for certain, right now it will be the end of this calendar year. Like he will be staying there, and then maybe like he doesn't fully leave until like mid-February or something. Like I don't think that's set in stone.
I'm gonna keep in mind he is getting the fattest golden parachute I've ever seen. I think it was the numbers was insane. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he is getting
400
amount of money.
400 million.
Where's he gonna put that money? I don't get it.
Up his ass. Where else are you gonna put it?
Yeah. You know what? Get rid of him. Like no one is really a big fan of Bobby Kotick, except apparently James Corden. As this was an interesting story that also broke earlier this week. Actually, last updated a day ago. This comes from Jez Gordon at Windows Central exclusive. Ahead of Xbox's acquisition, Activision's Bobby Kotick discussed Microsoft, Elon Musk's Neuralink, and hinted at a Guitar Hero revival in this leaked interview. He just kind of puts a nice little bullet points of everything. Sources familiar with the event recently shared with us a glimpse at an internal town hall meeting between Activision CEO Bobby Kotick and Activision Blizzard employees. Hosted by James Corden, Kotick fielded a range of questions and offered some insights into the future of Activision. Okay, before we get into the rest of this, was James Corden the first person you were expecting? Because I'll be honest, that's not who I was expecting in this interview.
Yeah.
Man needs work. He doesn't have his late show anymore.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's weird. Like, if you go to James Corden, or like, what's next? He's gonna go to Hot Ones, eat some wings while talking about this.
Yeah, really. I mean, James Corden is like, hey, I guess like, if you want someone talentless, sure, James Corden is perfect. I don't know why they went with him. Moving on, Microsoft is planning to acquire Activision Blizzard King in a blockbuster $72 billion deal that has faced intense regulatory scrutiny. We already know that happened. But this is the interesting thing. Both Kotick and Corden were coy about the current status of the deal, which is widely regarded to close as soon as this Friday, pending UK approval. And then while discussing Microsoft, Kotick lauded the firm's resources, cloud server tech, and technological research arm. He also name-checked Guitar Hero, strongly hinting that the game could be on the docket for a revival. I'll just ask right off the bat, over under Guitar Hero coming back?
Over, because Phil mentioned
Under.
a while back too. They're gonna try it out.
I feel like
Would they?
It's too big of an IP. They're gonna try.
They're gonna try.
They did try once.
I don't know how they're gonna implement it.
They make it live service. Live service and just
the problem is it's going to be a live service game.
So the problem with Guitar Hero Live, famous Guitar Hero Live, that was like 2015, I think. The issue with that game, I think, was that everyone just didn't want to buy the guitar peripherals anymore. After buying like a guitar peripheral for every Guitar Hero before that, it just got to the point where people were kind of getting tired of like having to buy extra peripherals for their games. So I wonder if they're going to try to like maybe move away from the peripheral, but also that's kind of the main thing that separated Guitar Hero from other games. So like, I don't know,
like,
how do you guys think a Guitar Hero?
It's like you can't play Guitar Hero without the actual guitar. It's like, what's playing it on a controller?
Just do both. Offer both.
Yeah, or what they do, they bring back the Kinect, and you play like an air guitar.
Air guitar. Oh my god.
I think Guitar Hero Live did offer both. I could check that real quick.
I think all games did offer both, but of course you want the one with the guitar.
You're right. I remember because the original. Funny story. When I played Guitar Hero 3 with my sister, she wouldn't let me use the guitar, so I had to use the PS2 controller. I don't know why she wouldn't let me use the guitar. Maybe because she thought I would break it. I don't know. But it is interesting. The thing is like the game is so marketed around that Guitar Hero controller, that guitar. So like, it's just like you sell it. I feel like it's really hard to sell it as, oh, and you can also use a controller. And it's like, well, okay, I'm just getting a lesser experience. It really depends on how they market it if they want to bring back Guitar Hero.
It's just a different market now of
exactly
because the periphery was like the thing that really sold it back in the day because it was the first one to do something like that and it took off. And this was also back in the day when retail brick and mortar stores had like shelf space to carry these giant periphery things. But nowadays, most retailers now, as we'll get to, like, I don't know, is the Best Buy store even on the docket?
No, I didn't put it because that's only
as we saw, Best Buy is ditching physical movies, and I'm pretty sure games will be next in the next like year or so. But
they said movies and CDs, but they nothing about games yet.
Yeah, I'm sure games will be the next thing. But
most likely.
Yeah, like if you look at like Target, Walmart, their game sections are getting smaller and smaller. There's no way today that you're going to find a brick and mortar store that's going to want to carry this giant periphery of a game. And
I went to Walmart the other day. You know those like limited edition Mario Game & Watches? It was like, oh, only for the Mario 35. There was like 12.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are they gonna do with these things? Like it shows. It's like consumers aren't gonna go to the store and buy a guitar. Like
that's the thing is though, the people who are into this stuff, like those Mario things, or even like a new Guitar Hero with the periphery, they're all gonna buy them like right when it launches because they're the market for it. They're really into it, and they're like, of course, I'm gonna drop my $90 for a game. Yeah, there's no staying power. These things they're gonna sell their initial launch stuff, then they're gonna restock it, and then all of that restock is just gonna sit on the shelf, and all the retailers are gonna be very angry about that.
I guess to kind of round this out, I want to ask two last questions. First, I guess just our overall thoughts on the deal as a whole. Is this a net positive, a net negative? I'm still very undecided. I want to see what Microsoft can do with Activision Blizzard. I feel like they can do better than they have been the last few years with like Activision Blizzard, especially Blizzard's side. I feel like has really been like struggling as of late with a lot of their new releases. So I want to see like, can Microsoft turn that ship around, or will it be like the same old? Like, how do you guys feel in that regard?
I'm still indifferent. I think there's negatives, there's positives, and I think I'm just pretty in between. It's got to see what they can do with it. Something needed to change with Activision, obviously, but I mean, yeah, it's pretty in between.
The positives outweigh the bad in this situation.
How so?
Blizzard, I feel like Blizzard, especially, they need to figure out what the fuck they're doing. And I feel like when it comes to Call of Duty, we don't need that many people working on Call of Duty. So they can start divesting those teams into more different types of titles and more unique titles so they can branch out more. It was really difficult before Microsoft for Activision to get any worse than they were before, especially when they had like that document come out with all that shit that was happening. I don't really think we can see them get any worse. Maybe they can get a Blizzard to start doing like movies or something because their animated team is incredible, and Microsoft has that now. So maybe that could be a way to revive Overwatch.
Nothing's reviving Overwatch, man. I've talked enough about Overwatch. Jat, what about you? How are you feeling about this deal?
So the big positive I'm getting out of this, and this is kind of how I felt when they acquired Bethesda like 2 years ago, which is crazy that a company can just acquire two pretty big gaming companies just within this time. And that's you just, as a Game Pass subscriber, you get more options for games, and that's always a good thing. But the negative of it is just, I'm just hoping this is not setting a practice where like at a certain point in the future, there's only going to be like 3 or 4 gaming companies because everybody's under a roof.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the thing is like, can structure overall like work and help out, Activision Blizzard overall with this transition, like being all under Microsoft. I mean, Moon, what about you?
Yeah, kind of like what everyone else is saying. There's definitely positives and negatives to both sides, but I do think there's more positives than negatives. And obviously, we won't get a determined, like a final answer until like a couple of years from now, once we figure out like what is Microsoft's plan with all these companies. I'm sure it's, yeah, we're looking at all the game studios that we're all aware of, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other like back end smaller studios that we're not fully aware of that they're going to put those people to work now. Because I'm pretty sure one of the biggest goals of this was to get all these studios to just make content because they just want to keep pumping those Game Pass games out. Like, it's like, I'm pretty sure that every game a quarter thing is still in the back of their mind. And it's like, we're going to get all these studios so we can start fulfilling that promise. So until we start getting like a roadmap or some kind of Phil Spencer be like, yeah, so this company's no longer like a COD support team. It's now we're going to put them on some passion project. Because I think that was
Like a
what
State
the
of the Union
report.
type deal.
Yeah, like a State of the Union kind of thing, which I don't think we'll fully get, but like eventually
An
news will
Xbox
come out.
E3 maybe.
Yeah, like we're going to get
Very
news
much
eventually like, oh yeah, like Raven Studios is now doing such and such, or all these other all these studios that were put on COD support is now going to be moved on something else. I think there was a report saying that they're gonna like have the studios like pitch like, what do you want to do, and well, I guess we'll see like what comes of that.
I originally wasn't thinking about this, but then I just remembered you guys talking about like overseeing all these studios. You know who the head of gaming is currently? Matt Booty. Can Matt Booty overlook
He
all
shouldn't
of these
be.
studios?
But the thing with this,
They're
no way
probably
he's
gonna hire
changed stuff.
someone else.
Yeah,
Hire either
there's too many
multiple.
people
They
for
need to hire other people. This is ridiculous.
Well,
Like
Well, I'm
Matt
sure
Booty
they're
can
gonna
replace
hire
Matt Booty.
someone that's gonna like oversee like the Activision part of it, like pretty much what Bobby Kotick is doing. Kotick is probably sticking on to show Phil Spencer like, okay, here's how we're managing everything. So Phil has an idea. Then he's probably gonna hire someone to basically do Kotick's job of just managing and keeping track of everything that's under all the Activision stuff.
They should replace Matt Booty while they're on the job search.
Yeah, just get rid of Matt Booty and add 2 other people. I don't know. Like I know. I feel like Matt Booty is passionate. He cares about gaming. I do believe that. But like, he let Redfall come out. I feel like if that's the regard, like that, in my opinion, my viewpoint has always been Matt Booty should have walked into Arcane Austin, see Redfall, and go, "This game sucks, cancel it." I don't know how he let that through. It's kind of insane to me.
I wonder.
Wasn't that
there
game
is no
development before
PlayStation
they got
version of
purchased?
Redfall, right?
Like 3 people talked to me. Dark say again.
Wasn't that game in like foreign development before they got purchased?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then they
Yeah,
purchased
it could've
them.
been like
But there
a
was like
contract
still
thing.
2 years where they could have canceled it. No, that
It
wasn't
could've
a
been a
contract.
contract
I think that was.
It could have been
Yeah,
under contract.
yeah, but like
is there
we
a
sell what the
PlayStation version of
contract is.
Redfall, or did they cancel the
There
PlayStation
was,
version?
but they canceled it.
Okay, because I was gonna say if Redfall's out on PlayStation, there might have been some obligation, like you got to put out a game for us.
Man,
But if they
it's-
cancel the
He should have
PlayStation
had-
version,
He
They
should have
should've
had the balls
canceled
to cancel Redfall. And
I
he
feel like
didn't,
in
so he failed
that
his
regard,
job.
you should have like if I was Matt Booty, I would have said, "Yo, this Redfall game looks horrible, Phil." And Phil's like, "Okay, we have to cancel it because that damages your brand." Like I think if you let your brand get damaged as badly as it was with Redfall's release, like it shows that you need, at the very least, you need help. You need more people than just Matt Booty looking at all these studios. And as Moon said, I think Kotick very much is kind of staying there to like onboard Phil and understand like how these studios work, because there are a lot of studios. And that one studio we haven't talked about a lot is the King part of this deal. Microsoft is very happy with King because they basically have this infinite money generating mobile game with Candy Crush. Like it's a major part of the deal.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure because now they can also utilize King's like specialty of making mobile games. They're probably gonna pump out a bunch more mobile games and be like, "Hey, look, free money."
Oh man, I hope not. But hey, we'll see. I do want to ask one last question, kind of to round this all out. What's the game you guys most want to see on Game Pass?
Warmers Warfare Cybertron games.
Hell
Hasbro
yes.
Hasbro
Transformers,
already
yes.
confirmed that they They were 100% with the licenses and everything to come back. They have the greenlit. Microsoft just needs to find the files, or wherever the fuck they
Hear
even
me
said it.
out. Hear me
They
out.
gotta do it.
All the Skylanders games.
Let them cook. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
bring back all the Spider-Man games.
Wait, how are they
Have
going
a
to do all the
plethora of
Skylanders
Spider-Man
games
games.
with the Toys to Life part, though? I just thought about that.
They'll figure it out. It's not my job.
They'll figure it out.
True. That's true. That's true. I respect it. Moon, what about you?
I don't think there really is anything because everything I'm interested in, I probably already played, and
Yeah, same. I just thought about
I
this. I'm
don't-
like, wait, I don't have any.
and you all
I'm not
guys-
really the biggest Activision Blizzard guy.
like, and there's like I'm not really too big on these. We're looking at like 15-year-old games for most of them.
Oh, I know what I'm gonna play. Just put all the COD games on there. I'll just
Yeah.
do a run through of the campaigns.
Boom. Black Ops 2.
Is it?
I'm just
Is
looking
it
more
weird that I
forward to
forgot
like when
they
are they
own
going to
COD?
start putting out their newer stuff on there, and the new stuff
Yeah.
once they're under like Microsoft, be like, this is a Game Pass Xbox exclusive game. Like,
Oh,
when are
they're
they going to start making those?
They're gonna say that. they're gonna make sure to abuse that license as like Xbox Game Pass exclusive. Jad, did you have one?
So there's, I think Dark kind of mentioned this, like the Spider-Man games. There's one in particular I really liked, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. That one had,
Oh man.
yeah, 2099 Noir. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also Web of Shadows,
There's
Edge
a
of
trilogy.
Time.
Yeah, those three are a
Yeah, yeah.
trilogy, and then they have the other movie tie-in games.
I
Those are
respect
the
Web of
original Spider-Man
Shadows
too.
for. Yeah, that'd be sick. Web of Shadows, I respect for one reason, and that's that you could say "fuck Mary Jane." I'm going with Black Cat. It's like finally a game that understands me. But yeah, Activision Blizzard deal. A lot to go over. A lot of stuff that hopefully, let's just be honest. We're just happy it's over. Like it's just like no more legal bullshit. It's finally out of the woods. But yeah, moving on. Xbox very much stole the spotlight this year, but us Sony ponies, we got a new PS5 revision. All right. This comes from the
Oh.
PlayStation blog. The new look for PS5 console this holiday season. This comes from Sid Schumann. As the holiday season approaches, we are excited to share we have a new PS5 model launching. To address the evolving needs of players, our engineering and design teams collaborated on a new form factor that provides greater choice and flexibility. The same technology that makes the PS5 the best way to play, packed to a smaller form factor, along with an attachable Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive. I'll talk about that. And a 1 terabyte SSD for more internal storage. The new PS5 has been reduced in volume by more than 30% and weight by 18% and 24% compared to previous models. There are 4 separate cover panels with the top portion in a glossy look, while the bottom remains in matte. If you purchase the digital edition, you can add the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive for PS5 later, as it will be sold separately for $79.99 US dollars. Wow. The new PS5 model will be available starting this November in the US at select local retailers and directplaystation.com where available. It will continue to roll out globally in the following months. Once inventory of the current PS5 model is sold out, the new PS5 will become the only model available. And then right here, they showed this. The PS5 with the disc drive, $499 disc edition. Digital edition, they decided to sneak this bad boy here. $449.99, a $50 price increase. And a horizontal stand will also be included with the new PS5 models. Also, a new vertical stand compatible with all PS5 models will be sold separately at $30 USD. Okay, we got a
I
lot
will
here.
say.
All right, Sony ponies,
Well-
defend this.
No,
I already love
Go
the
ahead.
PS5 design, and this just makes it even better. So I can't complain much.
Oh, I could complain. Okay, let me complain. All right. Okay, listen, I'm the Sony pony here. I gotta sit here and say this is one of the stupidest things ever. I don't mind the redesign. I think the redesign looks fine. But you're gonna say, all right, guys, we're gonna the digital edition console. You know how it was $400, now it's $449.99. Didn't change it at all. They just said, oh yeah, it's $449.99. And that is just all this weird thing about the vertical stand. I'm still thinking about this. $30 for a stand.
That's like
And then-
what, 2 inches tall?
I don't get it. And then the attachable disc drive for $80. Someone pointed this out. If you got the digital edition, and then decided you want to add the disk drive later, you're technically paying more.
Yeah, you're
because
paying
it's
more.
$80. I just don't get this. Like I listen. Okay, I wanted a PS5 Slim. This is not how I wanted it. I'm just very much now like, all right, where's the PS5 Pro? Hopefully that one's better.
Yeah, it's like the only other upgrade to this is I think the internal hard drive's a bit bigger now.
Slightly.
Yeah, 1 terabyte.
Like
now.
the storage. Yeah. So
Yeah, but like you can get those for way cheaper now. You don't
Yeah.
need to buy a whole new PS5.
there's literally no reason to this. It's almost weird that they're even calling this like a newer model. I mean, because what they're saying is this is just going to be the phased in as like the new default. Like as soon as all the others are gone, they'll be gone, and this will be just the new default. But
you know those faceplates. You know those faceplates, Moon.
oh yeah, they're
can't
not going to
work on
work
this
now.
one. They don't work now. They're like, hey guys, check out these new faceplates. We're so proud of it. Oh, never mind. Like what happened?
So what is with Sony these past recent years of just shooting themselves? Did they just get too
They're
cocky?
in the lead. They're in the lead. That's what happened. They are in the lead. So they are effectively like, well, nothing can stop us now. They are very much in their Apple mode. This is what happened in the PS3 generation, and that fucked them over there. Here, like, they have a strong enough install base, a large enough install base, including me. I'm a sucker. I'll fully say it. Their install base is large enough to where they can do this.
It's just fascinating to me that they're making this such a big deal when it's just kind of, here's the new replacement. I guess they had to like make an announcement formally of it because it is technically smaller and there's a bigger hard drive, the stand thing and all that. Because this is reminding me of when Nintendo phased out the original launch switch for the slightly better version that's like the better battery and all that. And they didn't make a big deal out of it. They just kind of said, yeah, there's gonna be this newer revised model, same. I think it was the same. I think they're the same price.
I don't think they even said anything. I think it just released.
It just kind of released, and they're like, "Yeah, it's a newer model, has better battery." Da da da. Enjoy. I don't know. It's just there's really no point in buying this unless you don't have a PS5, and that's really thing. Or your PS5 catches fire and you need a new one.
Well, I mean, at that point, you just might as well wait for the Pro. Like, unless it like catches fire tomorrow, which I'm hoping my PS5 will be fine until then. I just let me play Spider-Man, and then I think I can wait for the Pro. I mean, I'll just ask that. You guys think a Pro is going to be next year?
Yes.
Oh. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Sony hater over here. Well, why do you think no Pro exists?
I just feel like it's too soon. I could be me like not realizing how much time has passed since this gen has come out.
It's 4 years. It's 4 years. Oh my god, this generation is so weird. We've been 4 years into it, and we're getting our first PS5. Well, actually, no, not our first, but still, like our first big one. It feels like with Spider-Man 2 next week. I will say it's kind of interesting they put this out. This thing is releasing after Spider-Man 2. I guess it works kind of as a marketing beat. Like, hey, you get this PS5, like you want to buy one this holiday, and now you have a new Spider-Man with it.
And you know those special Spider-Man faceplates you got? No, they're not going to work on this.
I'm still thinking, how? Why? Oh, God.
But yeah, it does make me think that the line of logic that I'm following is this is the newer redesign to have the slightly bigger hard drive, smaller, yada, yada, yada. So, and this is going to phase out the older model. This is the new base PS5. And then, yeah, they're going to have the newer Pro with the better, slightly better tech and whatever they're going to make in the Pro version next year, or maybe 2 years from now. Maybe they'd ride on the PS5 for just a bit longer, maybe 2 years. But I do think it's on the horizon.
There's something I just saw. Happens later in the article. I know, professional. A variety of PS5 console cover colors for the new model will be available starting in early 2024, including an all-new matte black colorway and the Deep Earth Collections colors. Metal as hell, I guess. Volcanic red, cobalt blue, and sterling silvers, which I don't think they have any pictures for any of those. Prices for them will start at $54.99 USD.
So those poor fellows who I really like my red PlayStation 5. It's like, so I bought the red faceplates. Oh, now I'm gonna get the mini. I gotta buy more faceplates.
It's just man. This is a funny.
I have a question.
Go for
Have any of y'all bought plates for your PS5? Because I have not.
it. There's no. I'm not spending money on that. I want one. I want the black one, but
I thought I
Yeah,
almost
I
got the
thought-
Spider-Man ones, but then I realized, and this is what convinced me out of it, was I was gonna put it on, have them on while I was playing Spider-Man, and then I'd probably lose interest in them after I was done with Spider-Man, and then, or even maybe just like the remainder of the year, whatever. Then I realized I would take these things off, put the white ones back on. I would never use the Spider-Man ones again. They would just sit in my closet and take up space.
exactly. It's just a
I
weird.
bought the black controller and sold my white one, but that's about it.
I got the Spider-Man controller because I mean I like controllers, so I might.
Yeah,
I
that
got Spider-Man.
controller's sick.
But
That's a good. Yeah, I mean, like I don't really like Starfield, but like the Starfield controller's been great for me. So it's a controller at the end of the
I will
day.
say the Spider-Man
Just staring
controller
at it.
seems to be less quality than the standard. I don't know, maybe I just have a weird one, or if this is it, but the buttons, specifically the start button, isn't as clicky as
Options.
like a regular controller. And there was like one other thing about it. It felt less sturdy than a regular like DualSense 5. So I'm not using it. It's purely a decoration piece now.
Well, what does staring at the Starfield controller make you think? How does it make you feel?
I think, oh, look, it's a controller. Like I don't know. I'm not that upset about Starfield. Like I'm surviving. I was mad in the moment, but hey, things happen. Live and learn. Moving on. Our favorite, a friend of the show, John Riccatello, has stepped down from Unity. Unity CEO steps down following backlash over engine monetization plans. This is Tom Ivan over at VGC. Unity has announced that John Riccatello is stepping down as president, CEO, chairman, and board member effective immediately. Former Electronic Arts boss, Riccatello joined the engine maker Unity's board in 2013 and has led the company since the following year. His departure comes weeks after the company sparked a backlash after the development community by announcing controversial monetization plans for its popular game engine, which it partially walked back following the outcry. It's been a privilege to lead Unity for nearly a decade and serve our employees, customers, developers, and partners, all of whom have been instrumental to the company's growth, Riccatello said. I look forward to supporting Unity through this transition and following the company's future successes. I'm just going to ask you guys right off the bat, does Unity change?
No, because he wasn't the
No.
one making these decisions.
Exactly.
Like he was, yeah.
Yeah, right there with you. like Unity was very much at the behest of their board. And so like John Riccatello, like, yeah, he was a part of it. He was a part, like he wasn't exactly like a golden child or anything. It's not like he's how do you say it? Removed from blame, I guess. But like at the end of the day, the board was the one that was pushing for, these horrible monetization practices.
Yeah, and now that he's gone, now like people can't blame him for it. So that I think that's part of why he left.
I mean, he's left. He's just like, he did the change, and then he's like, okay, I'm taking my golden parachute out elsewhere. I guess the real question is more so, does this guy lead another gaming company?
Probably not after what happened with Unity. Everyone's going to be looking at it like, I know what you guys, I know what you did. I know what you did last time.
I mean, he did make money. Like, I think they're going to look at it as like, well, this guy has experience, so we might as well have him lead, I don't know, EA again. What if he came back to EA? That would just be like full circle. He very much is like someone who is not good at saving companies, but he's good at getting the chairman, like the board, enough money on a like dying company, and then going like, okay, you guys have fun with that money. See ya. He's not a very good. He's not very good at his job. I think we can all agree there. All right, well, words for John Riccatello. Man, you guys are really in love with this man. There's not much to say. I mean, the dude left the company.
It's just like, get out of here.
Yeah, not much is going to change for Unity. I hope things change, but it's hard. It's kind of doubtful.
He fucked around and found out.
He fucked around and found out. Moving on. Another PlayStation story. My favorite company. PS5 cloud streaming is coming for PlayStation Plus premium members. This comes from Hideaki Nishino from the PlayStation blog. Since launching the all-new PlayStation Plus more than a year ago, we've seen such high engagement from our fans on our new offerings, from the quality titles offered in the game catalog, like Forbidden West and Sea of Stars, to new trophy features we've added to classic games like Legend of Dragoon and Siphon Filter. Today, we have more details to share about PS5 cloud streaming for PlayStation Plus Premium members. Starting this month, we will begin launching cloud streaming access for supported PS5 digital titles within the PlayStation Plus game catalog and game trials, as well as supported titles in the PS5 game library that PlayStation Plus members own. So this is very much a thing where it's like, okay, now you can stream PlayStation 5 games. You couldn't before, which I didn't know. So for the 3 people who still have PlayStation Plus Premium, there you go. Maybe that's why they increased the prices.
It finally has value.
Okay, we're gonna have to define value here because I don't know if anyone's just like, I gotta get premium now. I think I look at this as a Sony fan. I'm just gonna say this outright. You have zero reason to go into premium. Like, I mean, streaming PS5 games, maybe you can find the use cases, but like for the ridiculous price of premium, as well as like the fact that it had a price increase last month, Jem Ryan's last parting gift for us before he left, it kind of tells us that, yeah, this is just premium is just not worth it. Extra is definitely worth it. I think you get enough games in that catalog. I know Moon, you've said you've used extra a lot in the past, but I don't know premium. What does premium do at this point?
It just has a bunch of retro games, and it's just like, okay,
It's not even a bunch.
Yeah, no, it's not even that a bunch. Yeah,
That's the thing. As we like, bro, weirdos like me would be like, okay, cool. This. I'll buy premium for that. There's not even a bunch. There's like 6. At least it feels like it. It's just a frustrating aspect of like PlayStation in general. It feels like they just can't figure out the streaming service thing nearly as well as Xbox did, which is weird because they seem to have figured out a decent amount, but there hasn't been enough additives into Extra to really justify the price for someone like me versus Game Pass, where I feel like I can more easily justify that price. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. It's just a weird thing. Moon, do you feel like you get your money's worth with Extra?
if I was more of a better gamer like the rest of you all who blow through games a lot faster than me, I'd probably find it much more worth it because there are a lot of games on there that I think are very good for backlogging. Like obviously it's no day one stuff like Game Pass, but for a lot of third party stuff, they get quite the number. And what's also interesting is a lot of third party and indie stuff bounces between Game Pass and PS Extra. So if I miss a game on Game Pass, like within the next month or two, we get announced that it's being added to PS Extra. And it's also fascinating to see what indie games end up on each one because Disco Elysium, like the final cut, it was a big one. I felt like this is going to end up on one of the services eventually, and I kept feeling like it was going to be PS Extra. And now it just got announced this month. We're getting Disco Elysium, the final cut. So it's just fascinating to see like I almost want to call them like allegiances that these indie titles gonna go. To just see where they end up. So for someone who wants to play like a bunch of third party and indie stuff, I think both services do fantastic jobs of that. And obviously Xbox is going to win out more because you also get all the first party stuff. But PS Extra has nothing to sneeze at. Now, granted, the price is a little bit exuberant, especially with no first party. I mean, maybe if there was first party on there, that would justify the price a bit. But currently, it's just like it's just currently right now. It's just like iffy. Like, it's like I do it begrudgingly. I have extra begrudgingly because I know they're gonna add stuff that I want to play, and they do at least every other month. There's at least one game they add, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play that.
But isn't there some first party? Like I think the New Horizons was on there.
I think he's saying like if it was like day and date first party, it would be much more.
Yeah, day and date first party.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is going to happen for a couple of years. Go ahead, Dirk.
I don't know if Sony's ever going to do this, but if it ties back to the Activision thing, when it comes to Call of Duty, Microsoft gave them the AOK to put a day and date on PS Plus, and that could benefit them a lot. And Call of Duty itself. And if they'll do that, I don't know if they ever would, but you know.
I would have to look into that. I don't remember that news story. Maybe I just missed it.
This just had the court documents.
I feel like they wouldn't pass up that chance, but also it's like, well,
there's also
get a lot of money.
Jim Ryan also said they'll never put it day and date, so you know.
Jim Ryan's gone now, baby. It's a brand new Sony. We don't gotta listen to him. All right. Well, we talked enough about PlayStation. I want to talk about one of my favorite developers, Hideki Kamiya. Has a new YouTube channel. This is kind of an interesting one. There were some things he kind of outlined in one of his first videos for the channel. He decided to leave Platinum Games about 3 months ago. I should say this comes from Mario64 over on Twitter. Decided to leave Platinum Games about 3 months ago. He's not retiring from game development. I'm not sure. I don't think anyone expected that. Can't work in the same industry for a year due to reasons, as he outlines.
Non-committal. It's a non-committal agreement, so he can't be poached.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. I will say it was funny watching the video. One of the stills is off to the unemployment center. See ya. So it just shows like Kamiya still has that brand of humor. Dark, I know you're a Kamiya fan. Like, do you have any thoughts on Kamiya's stance on the industry? Your name's not
He'll be
Dark.
fine. He'll be fine. He's like so renowned and recognizable for his style that he'll be able to find a job anywhere.
Yeah,
This
I've been blocked by him, so I'm a fan.
Go ahead, Ben.
I think this pretty much confirms that Platinum and him had very different visions of where they wanted to go, and he pretty much felt like he had to leave to accomplish what he wants to do.
I'll be real. I think Project GG got canceled. I think
Yeah.
Kamiya was set to direct that game. He clearly assumedly had a lot of passion for it. And I think maybe something happened along the way. Platinum was not working with him correctly, and he is a very hot-headed person, as we could tell with Jet being a first-hand witness to him blocking someone. It very much is a situation where, yeah, I think something happened to Project GG. Kamiya wasn't happy. He left.
Yep, I agree.
And then he was just like, he's wrapped up in some contract for this non-compete thing. So, yeah, he's going to be like, I'm just going to sit around for a year. My nice sports car that he took up with video of.
I mean, he has a YouTube channel, so like hopefully,
so that's
like
what he's
it's kind of
gonna be
like
doing at this
Sakurai.
time.
I hope it's kind of like Sakurai, where like he gives us some development insights, cool little things about all of his games, or he could just like talk about all the people he blocked and why he blocked them for 3 hours straight. Oh hell, I'll do that. I'll watch either or. But yeah, hopefully everything works out with Kamiya. Big fan of his work. Moving on. So we got this interesting story, to say the least. Wario64 kind of posted this. Kevin Afghani is the voice of Mario and Luigi in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Kevin Afghani himself just tweeted out of the blue, incredibly proud to have voiced Mario and Luigi in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Thanks to Nintendo for inviting me into the Flower Kingdom. Now, the reason I found this interesting is apparently the demo was data mined, because everything gets fucking data mined nowadays. And they basically they figured out that some completely different actor, I don't remember, it was the voice of Poe.
Mick Wingert.
In
his name's Mick.
Yeah, that's
Mick
it.
Wingert.
Mick Wingert. Okay. He was kind of, it was like, oh, this guy's the voice of Mario, and I guess Nintendo was kind of forced to announce like this, like no, he's not the voice. Like this is the voice. And though Kevin Afghani outright says it. Any thoughts regarding this kind of funny story, honestly?
Yeah, I was hoping we have kind of two Poes canonically voicing Mario characters.
Oh, like two different people?
No, like how Jack Black is Bowser and.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Yeah. No, it's interesting. It very much seemed like Nintendo was kind of just forced to announce it because, like, it's like, oh, we don't want like this random guy who's not involved in this project to just like, it's like, yo, congrats on the job, Mick, and he's just like, wait, what? So
yeah, it's just funny because I actually took a class with Mick like 2 weeks ago, and when I saw that, I'm just like, there's no way, because you look at what he does voice wise. And also just him as a person in general, he's about as old as Charles Martinet. It's like, why would you replace him with a guy who's just about a similar age, probably on his way? He doesn't do as much voice acting anymore these days. He's like semi-retired, and so it was just baffling to me. It's like, okay, and plus I've talked to him and heard his voices that he does. Like, there's no way this guy can pull out a Mario voice unless he has like some secret talent we didn't know about.
Next time you see him, ask him to do a Mario voice and record it for the podcast.
But yeah, then you look at this new Kevin guy, and he's like,
he's a newer
VA, which I kind of figured was going to be the case. They're going to get someone who's not some big name. He has very small credits, but I mean, hey, they're credits nonetheless. It is kind of annoying though that people are just so used to celebrity and bigger name announcements that people are already attacking this guy, saying this is who Nintendo settled on. I'm like, bitch, they didn't settle on him; they picked him.
It's an audition. He passed the audition, and Nintendo was like, "Oh, okay, you can go."
Yeah, because literally there was one that the voice acting community kind of jumped on. There was this guy who pulled up like his like IMDb credits, so you see like his role in like Genshin Impact and like a couple other like smaller projects, and it was like, "This is your Mario," and then like, "What were you expecting?" It's like Chris Pratt.
So, it's a funny situation.
It's just funny. It's just sad that people are just so used to like to these big announcements. Like I knew from like the moment they said they were recasting, it's going to be some smaller I don't want to call him a nobody because that's insulting, but like clearly
like
someone who isn't a household name in like video games and whatnot.
I will say.
Well, I'm just also going to say it's interesting. He's also he's Mario and Luigi, so he's not taking over for Wario and Waluigi. At least not yet, because we don't have a.
Well, they don't exist in this game.
Yeah, they don't exist in this game. So we'll find out like the next game that comes up after this that includes them, if he's also doing them, or if they're gonna get someone else. Because Charles Martinet did Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, and like the babies too. So they got a lot of characters to now cover. But what's also interesting is he's also voicing that talking flower that's new to
I'm turning that motherfucker off. I'm telling you right now. That shit's so annoying, bro. I did the demo and the flower was like, hey! I'm like, shut the fuck up. Let me jump in peace.
So that was just kind of neat. But yeah, good for him. Congratulations to Afghani.
I think something that's also, he specifically says voiced Mario and Luigi in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Maybe it's just this game and they may get someone else.
No.
I just think that he already finished the
just-
recordings.
Yeah.
It's past that.
Yeah,
It is also.
They probably want to wait to announce it, like for other things. Like we talked about it when like the thing happened of Mario being, Charles Martinet retiring from Mario. I think it very much is a thing where they don't want to like really make a thing like Kevin Afghani, voice of Mario. It's like, oh yeah, he's the voice of Mario in this game.
Yeah, because they don't want the voice actor behind the character to outshine the character.
Mm-hmm.
So they can be real low key about it. Which going back to Kevin's tweet, it is like almost, I don't want to say off-putting, but it was just so weird. Like it's this very simple text tweet. Like I see a lot of casting announcement tweets because I'm in the voice acting community for anime and games and all that. So people make these like grand spectacle tweets like with pictures and like almost like a paragraph of text being like, I'm so happy to be the role of da 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 da. And it's like,
yeah.
And then
he's just
Kevin's
like, hey,
tweet
yo,
like,
I'm Mario.
Yeah, Mario. Thanks, Nintendo. And it's like not even a picture of Mario like attached to the tweet or anything. It's just like the most casual tweet of saying, yeah, I'm now voicing one of the biggest characters in video games.
Congratulations to Kevin. Excited to see what he does in the future. Moving on. Benji Sales had a very quick story I just wanted to bring up. Ubisoft has given some stats on Assassin's Creed Mirage performance, launch player numbers in line with Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, biggest new-gen launch of any Ubisoft game in sales, new-gen being PS5, Xbox Series X and S. I will say, it seems like the people have spoken. They very much did want old Assassin's Creed back, and in this regard, it seems like it is a success, at least for Ubisoft. Especially, $50 price tag, I think that was much more attractive. Unless you're someone like me who's just going to wait for Black Fridays, $50 just wasn't attractive enough, I guess. I'm sorry.
It wasn't attractive enough with Spider-Man right around the corner.
Exactly. That's a big thing. I will say, an interesting detail. They say new gen launch specifically. This game also came out on old gen. So it kind of shows it's like they very much are succeeding in both the new gen realm, like with the current gen, and with like last gen PS4 and Xbox One. I think this also kind of tells me, I think Ubisoft's close to ditching PS4 and Xbox One soon. I feel like this is going to be one of the last games. Avatar's also PS4, I think.
No, that one's the current.
That's current gen only. Okay, I think no, for sure. Then I think it's over for. I think Ubisoft, because if you remember, Ubisoft was actually one of the first to ditch the PS3 and 360 and
Really?
with Assassin's Creed Unity. Yeah, they a year later, Assassin's Creed Unity was only on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It was not on PS3 and 360. They created Assassin's Creed Rogue for last gen, which I still
Oh
think is the
yeah, I
funniest thing
remember
ever.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Uh,
confirmed. Avatar is only Series X and PlayStation 5 and PC, and then also the only other Ubisoft game I could think of is Star Wars Outlaws, and yeah, that's next gen or current gen only.
Yeah, so it kind of tells me like Ubisoft is pretty much at this point like Far Cry 7. That's going to be current gen only. We can all like pretty much
Yeah, they
predict
definitely
that.
suffered by putting 6 on older software.
Exactly.
I do
I'm
think
interested.
though,
Go ahead.
Assassin's Creed may stick around because that's like their Call of Duty. They have a lot of fans and a lot of people who buy just those games. So if they can make the game run on the older consoles, they probably will. But I think like all their more bigger projects like Star Wars and Avatar and all that are going to be next gen titles. Whereas we might get Assassin's Creed on older consoles for like another year or two.
It may be, but again, like they very much are like how Jim Ryan quoted, "We believe in generations." I feel like Ubisoft is always like one of the quickest to jump off of last gen. I mean, again, like you look at Unity, like that was a current gen only. Granted, Rogue was also on last gen, but like I don't think anyone speaks about Rogue. Like that was Unity was the big Assassin's Creed game of that year. I feel like they're more willing to ditch shit. But again, as Moon says, that very much is their Call of Duty. So like it could be a situation where it releases on last gen as well. Moving on. I'm lucky we got 2 Disney boys here. This comes from Noble, who friend of the show. He kind of like parsed this out of a Bloomberg article because God knows I wasn't reading a Bloomberg article. Bob Iger's deputies tried to push Iger in a new direction. They want Disney to become a gaming giant rather than licensing out their IPs. One way would be an acquisition like EA. Iger has been non-committal. This actually is an excerpt from the article. A couple of offers have been floated for Disney's TV assets. Byron Allen texted Iger a $10 billion bid for ABC and its other TV channels, while Nexstar Media Group was in exploratory talks for the E! News Network, but neither deal is likely to go through. ESPN agreed to a sport betting deal with the down-market casino operator Penn Entertainment Inc. that will pay Disney as much as $1.5 billion over a decade. For years, Iger insisted Disney couldn't get into gambling because of reputational concerns. Now it seems like a way to plug the holes. And then here's the big thing. Iger's deputies are pushing him to consider a bolder transformation of Disney from gaming licensee to a gaming giant through, say, an acquisition of Electronic Arts. But as with everything else, he's been non-committal. So Moon, Jet, you're the big Disney guys. I want to ask you too, what is your thoughts on this?
Well, my original thought was actually I was thinking about this earlier today when I realized, we're recording a podcast. But I was thinking about
Professional.
the whole story because my original thought was this just sounds like a bunch of business people who don't think about the gaming industry as like the industry like Phil Spencer would. This is just seeing as someone's like, man, we could be making money from video games. Why aren't we making money from video games? And then I just think back, not even like a decade ago, you guys floundered hard with like Epic Mickey, Disney Infinity, and these other games that you guys made. You closed all your studios because of it, and you just went, we're just gonna license stuff off, and it made sense. Like you just license out your IPs, and you're one of the few companies that have the luck of having have a category of IPs that people want to use. Like people will go to you be like, I want to use this IP. And it's like, cool, give me money, I'll let you have the IP, and you suffer none of the consequences if the game is bad. Like obviously you take maybe a little bit of a brand damage, like, oh, that was a bad Indiana Jones game or whatever. But everyone's gonna look at it like if the Indiana Jones game is bad, everyone's gonna be looking at Bethesda and Microsoft, not so much Disney for that kind of stuff. So you get all the benefits of getting the money for the license and none of the fallout if it's a bad game. But it just feels like. So then I thought of something. Maybe they still realize that because they were trying to build studios from the ground up for us. I don't know what it was like for like the studios that made Epic Mickey and Disney Infinity and all that, how they got involved. But if they were definitely smaller studios that they just couldn't make a good game. Well, I just shouldn't say that, but what I think their new
I know what
tactic
you're
is,
trying to say. It's very
um,
much like a situation where these like smaller studios, not that they couldn't make a good game, but they couldn't make a blockbuster game. They couldn't make
yeah,
a Call of Duty selling game, which is I think what Disney wanted.
So now they're looking at the angle of kind of like maybe they're being inspired by Microsoft. It's like, well, if we can't build stuff from the ground up, let's just buy what we can. Let's just buy a successful company and then have them make games for us. So they see the success or the other. Granted, here's my other question: like, why are they targeting EA? EA got them that whole debacle about loot boxes with Battlefront 2 and that whole fallout. So like, why are they going after this company that caused them that headache, that PR nightmare? But I think they just want to see this as, okay, we buy EA. They are a company that knows how to make games and make games that sell. And now we just put them to work instead of making our own company of game for making games. So it sounds like a good idea on paper, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to work out in that kind of favor. And I totally agree with what Bob Iger is saying that he's not committal to it because he doesn't want to think about He doesn't want to think about that right now because there was also that report that came out when he came back as CEO from Chapek. He found the whole company, the parks, the movies, everything in just shambles. And he is like overworked right now and just in a disarray of trying to get everything back in order. So transforming the company into a video game giant right now is like the last thing on his mind.
Well, Mike Minotti from the Game Mess Decides podcast, friend of the show, very much stated like I was listening and he very much stated this thing where it's like I feel like at this point Bob Iger wants to find a successor, but the problem is you need a successor that understands theme parks, sports, TVs, movies, and now you want to throw in gaming. Like it's at that point where it's like that is so much work for one person. The only person that could have done it was Bob Iger because he's been at the Disney for so many years. And now like the previous Disney CEO clearly was not of the quality that Disney wanted. And so they bring back Bob Iger and he's just sitting here. It's like, what the fuck do I do with this company? And I think now like it comes down to like maybe they get acquired, but like the only companies big enough to acquire it is like Apple. And Apple doesn't want Disney. That's too much for them. That's not needed for Apple. They are a tech giant. They don't really want all the movies, TV shows, theme parks, anything like that. Jet, you're also a Disney guy. I mean, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I very much agree with like pretty much everything Moon had said, and the thing I like is like how Disney is kind of going with like just straight up giving their like licensing to these studios. Like for example, Illusion Island was a pretty good game. Both Jedi games were still like pretty good, and now we got Avatar, Star Wars. Like. And oh yeah,
they're using those IPs.
Yeah, exactly, and even Indiana Jones, right? Like so, like this share of IPs, it diversifies each game, like each of them being very different, and like it just opens it up rather than having like one studio and trying to make everything in house. But then that like kind of limits that studio, if that makes sense. Like.
Starting a new studio nowadays is so difficult. Like Disney Interactive failed because it was like they were trying they had to do so many different Disney IPs. It's like I feel like it was too much on that one studio. Like Epic Mickey, they were trying to sell that as like this is the end all be all, and nobody really played it. Nobody really cared about it. It's fascinating.
Well, Epic Mickey 1 was actually a big success. The problem was no one played Epic Mickey 2, and even though that was a multi-platform game. It does a fascinating little documentary I'll watch on Epic Mickey too. That's like a very good listen if you want to hear just like the shambles Disney was in at the time of around Epic Mickey 2. Also, I want to shout out that they also got information on the Epic Donald game that was in development. That shit sounded like fire of a game. I wish that game didn't get canceled.
And then Epic Goofy, Epic Mini.
Yeah.
Is this a cinematic universe?
Yeah, and there was also. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say the Way Forward game that was based on DuckTales. I wish that came out.
God, Way Forward deserved to make that game. They would have nailed it. Yeah, very interesting situation. I hope they don't acquire an EA. I don't think they will. As they say, Bob Iger is uncommittal. So if they don't acquire them, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, video games is like the last thing on their mind right now. Everything else is just falling apart around them.
Quick news story here. xDefiant is delayed. again. This is from the xDefiant Twitter. They had a little message here, a message from the xDefiant team. They kind of talk about like, excited for the game, but it also surfaced some inconsistencies in the game experience that we need to address prior to launching our preseason. So we've made the hard decision to delay the preseason of xDefiant. Now, you may be wondering, when is the preseason? We don't know.
We don't know.
Moon and I literally played this game. I said I hated it. I don't know if Moon liked it or not.
I
Did
didn't.
you like it? You didn't like it either?
It was
It was
bland.
boring. Yeah, exactly. And so it's very much telling me, it's like, okay. We were very much of the opinion, like, oh yeah, it's gonna release. Never did. And now I'm just like wondering, like there was that news story we were gonna cover a couple news weeks ago, but like it didn't work out. Effectively saying like they failed the certification test for PlayStation and Microsoft stores. Do you think that has something to do with it in this regard, man?
Maybe a little bit, but I do think there's probably just a lot of the how do we make this game last? Because I'm pretty sure they're also well aware of the state of live service games, and they're watching all these other guys fall like flies, and they're like, what do we do to make sure we can stay alive for at least 6 months?
Yeah, it's very interesting to say the least. And then last news story, I just found this funny. Lord of the Rings Gollum, that famous apology, ChatGPT was used to write it. This comes from Jordan Midler over at VGC. In interviews with the German gaming outlet Game2, spotted by Noble, friend of the show, several former Daedalic staff members have spoke for the first time about what went wrong with the critically panned licensed game. Following the release of Gollum...
Critically acclaimed Gollum?
No. Did I say critically acclaimed? I meant to say panned.
No, that's what I'm saying it is.
Oh, critically acclaimed. Yeah, no, it should be. I thought I fucked up. I'm like, I would never call that game acclaimed. Following the release of Gollum, Daedalic apologized for delivering what it was called an underwhelming experience with the final game. The company said, "We deeply regret that the game did not meet expectation and pledged to improve it via future updates." No, they're not. It's now claimed that the apology was written with the AI software ChatGPT, according to two sources speaking with Game2. It's also claimed that developer Daedalic had no knowledge of the apology or its content prior to the publishing, and that it was handled entirely by publisher Nacon. I should also mention the Gollum's development budget is reported to have been around 15 million euros, a modest sum for a game in the AAA game space in 2023. There's a lot more to this story that I got from the interview, but I just found I remember at one point of the apology it said the Lord of the Ring. And it's like, oh, there's the ChatGPT part. And to that point, I just have to ask, did no one proofread the apology? Did no one check like why is it sound like every other apology, like noticing the ChatGPT nature of it? It like apologies were already sounding like ChatGPT apologies at this point with a lot of these games. At this point, we all have a collage of the apologies for each game. Jedi Survivor, Cyberpunk, and now Gollum. But it's just funny to me, like you couldn't even write an apology.
Literally, the one intern be like, that guy signed. Okay, we need to make a statement about Gollum, and the guy was just like, fuck this, I gotta go do something else. I'm gonna put this in ChatGPT real quick.
No, I actually think that's exactly what it is. It's just like I couldn't be bothered. I don't know. I just found that story hilarious. I can't stop laughing about it because it's just you couldn't even write an apology correctly.
Just add on to everything else that happened with that game, and the dollar amount. I don't know. They said it's a modest sum.
15 million euros.
Which I'm pretty sure that's on the smaller side.
It's the smaller side, but I'm also like, where did that budget go? Because this does not look like a 15 million euro game. I'll say that.
Clearly, we're very underfunded.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating. Hopefully, actually, I was about to say, like, hopefully that studio gets on their feet. They're gone, so never mind. Hopefully the people who work there get on their feet. But yeah, that's all for the news. Pretty light news week overall. I think it's time we talk about what we've been playing. I'll go first. I beat.
You beat it?
I beat
one of the best games of all time.
Can I talk? I beat 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. It's not one of the best games ever made, but I really enjoyed it. I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. I think if you're a fan of time travel and sci-fi, that type of thing. I think they do an amazing job of kind of wrapping the story together. I think the actual combat of the game, something that a lot of people don't talk about, I think it's fine enough, especially when you get Missile Rain. Missile Rain is the best ability in all of gaming. I'm just going to say that right now. That is it's just launches like 150 missiles towards all the kaiju, and it's like, fuck yeah, let's just let it rip. But other than that, I don't know. Like, there's not a lot much I could say without kind of spoiling the game. It's kind of just one of those games you kind of need to play to understand. Bench said this before. It's very much a game that kind of needs to be a video game with its story, and I do agree with that. I don't know if you can really like tell this story in any other medium. I will say there are a lot of terms, and it gets to the point of being very confusing, especially around the middle half of the game. I started looking at that like data summary thing with all the definitions multiple times, thinking like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? I should also mention I don't really like sci-fi, so like the fact that this game was able to grab me is pretty impressive in and of itself. In general, I mean, I do recommend the game. I think if you're into visual novels, I 100% recommend it in that regard. You know, sci-fi, time travel, all that stuff. I just think it's a little bit more confusing than it could have been, and also some of those routes are just bad. I think Fuyusaka, I think her name is. I did hers is like one of the last ones I did, and my god, that was one of the most boring experiences I've ever had in the game. And it kind of sucks because like there were other characters I genuinely like really loved going through their stories, and then just like Fuyusaka was such a massive downgrade for me, where I was just like, I just want to finish this for the sake of finishing it. So yeah, I just think it has like those rough edges that could have been rounded out, but overall, like thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I was in the mood to shoot some demons. So I replayed Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, some of my favorite shooters of all time. Doom 2016 being one of my favorite games of all time in general. And I think it's interesting looking online and stuff. Like, it very much is kind of like a mixed thing of like preferring Doom 2016 or Eternal. I'm thoroughly on Doom. Like, this replay kind of just told me it's like I do prefer 2016. I think it's a more well-rounded game. I personally like the art style more. I like the level design a little more. But I also completely understand liking Eternal more. I think Eternal has so many more demons, so many more levels. It has just more carnage in general. I think both games are absolute masterpieces, though. I think you need to go out there and play these games if you haven't already. Some of the best FPS campaigns of all time, if not the best. I thoroughly recommend.
In January.
In January, there you go. Moon, real quick, I know you played both Doom games. Do you have a preference for 2016 or Eternal?
No, it's like you say, they both do different things so well that it's almost like, in a way, not right to compare them.
Same.
Because they just do things so differently, but yet somehow it's the same franchise. Personally, maybe it's just because it's newer and I don't really replay stuff, so I don't really have any interest in replaying, but I do think I prefer Eternal just a little bit more. They turned up the color a little bit. I remember Doom 2016 being on the darker side of the color palette.
Yeah.
So I think I prefer the lighter colors of Eternal, the combat and like special abilities you have, like the grenade launcher and all that. I think I just prefer those in Eternal as well. Eternal does have some blights on it, like the Marauders, the platforming.
Oh, I love Marauders, dude.
The swimming. So
that swimming was dog shit. The swimming, the poison swamps, like walking around slowly. I'm like, this is a Doom game. It's all about movement, and you're slowing down my movement.
That's why I hate
always
Marauders, though, is because you have to fight them in such a specific way. It slows down how you play the game.
That's fair. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah.
But overall, I think I do prefer Eternal. Maybe if I ever did replay 2016, maybe I would find something with it that I would like more. But it's been so long since I played it, and I don't really have time to replay games. So I'm just gonna call Eternal. I'm just gonna say Eternal.
No, that's completely fair. I think both games again like have their merits. It's funny you say like you like the lighter art style. I just slightly prefer the 2016 art style. It just kind of had like a lot of that Doom 3 aesthetic, but also, modernized it to just it has this gritty look to it. I guess I'm just a sucker for like gritty looking games like 2016. One of the biggest design downgrades is the Revenant, because in 2016 that thing looked terrifying, and then in Eternal it just kind of looks a little goofy in my opinion.
I'll have to look at comparison because I don't remember what they look like.
It's like 2016. They genuinely looked like they could belong on a metal album cover, and then in Eternal, it's just like and they're very much lighter tones. But again, as you say, like just the combat, like the speed of it, like I'm replaying Eternal. There's just been so many points where I'm in the zone. I am jumping from enemy to enemy, chainsawing. Like I am playing the way that I feel the developers intended me to. But as you say, it's just those blights, like platforming. There was no need to have as much platforming as there was. There's no need to have those poison swamps or anything like that. The swimming. Even then, I highly recommend both games. They are phenomenal. Something interesting. Both Jet and Bench have been playing Cyberpunk. I want to hear about this.
Cyberpunk might be in my top 25 games of all time. Speaking of, do I want to say I dropped Starfield again because I got bored?
Hell
Yeah,
yes, that's my guy.
I'll beat it before the end of the year, and I beat Sea of Stars. I'd give it 8.5. I just really enjoyed my time with it, although I do have some more smaller problems with it. But yeah, Cyberpunk, like I said, top 25 of all time might be if it keeps up this pace and the DLC is even better. Just like the aesthetic of the game is so good. Just driving through the city, picking up gigs and side jobs, just going through the motions and clearing the map, and then talking with the characters. The world feels so alive and I'm invested in it. And the combat is just absolutely incredible. Just like, I can't think of many flaws with this game. Like the cop system is always fun. You're like, they just pull up on you and they like defensive driving stuff. They'll try and slam you off the road, and it's just like so realistic. It's so fun.
Maneuvers.
Yeah, I'm just like drifting on the highway and whatever. Like, I haven't been this sucked in where I'm just like regularly playing 5 or 6 hour sessions at a time. Now it's more only like 2 or 3 hours. I'll like just sit, and then I may get up a few times in between then. But like today alone, I played like 5 hours of Cyberpunk, and I'm gonna go back. It's just so good.
Jed, I assume you're kind of like on the same wavelength.
Oh yeah. So I beat the main story. Like the way it works is like because I also got the Phantom Liberty DLC, and you can kind of like access it after a certain mission. And then I was doing both at the same time, where like I was doing a mission of Phantom Liberty and then going back to the main story. And I gotta say, it's been a fun experience. Yeah, like very much in line with what Bench was saying. But I personally enjoyed the Phantom Liberty DLC just as its own thing, like more than the base game, just because I just feel like it had a more interesting story to tell. And in some parts of the main game, I felt like I was getting bored with some of the dialogue. Like sometimes there's just too much dialogue, you know.
Hell
Phantom
yeah, too much
Liberty-
dialogue, gang.
Phantom Liberty being better than the main game makes me very excited because I have not touched it yet.
That's the thing is though, I hear like all the upgrades and stuff that the Phantom Liberty did to the game is very good, but the overall like actual story of Phantom Liberty isn't that much better than the regular story.
Yeah,
I don't
well, yeah. It's like obviously like some people like it more. Like I personally just like the premise of it more because it involves like the president.
Interesting. I will say I played Cyberpunk at launch on my PS4. Great experience. But one of my biggest issues was regards to the RPG mechanics, like as a role-playing game. Have any of those been tooled around, like not even from a gameplay standpoint, but more so from a story dialogue choice perspective?
They
Oh, yeah.
completely redid perks. It's a completely new system. I do think it's a little more convoluted than it needs to be, but there's also like from what I hear, it's a lot better as well. And then I'm getting in conversations where like the route I picked does lead to a little more of a better conversation. And like part of the perks that I level up to be able to open this door instead of having to go a different way, and like I need a better, more tech skill or the strength skill. So the points I'm putting into stuff do have more of an impact on what I'm able to interact with.
Interesting. Jack, you kind of on that wavelength?
Yeah, definitely like because I played it like when I played it's been a while since I first started it, and at this point, like it was somewhat updated, better than the launch version you played for sure. But
I would hope.
but it wasn't. Yeah, but it wasn't fully there. And then, yeah, I just kind of dropped it. And then, and yeah, like when I went in there, I forgot what the original system was, but like the perk system works pretty well. And yeah, the dialogue choices, like they really feel like there are consequences with things in this game.
Consequences, yeah, the consequences was what I was personally looking for. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find the time to like jump back into it. You do know I get that free PS5 upgrade. I still have my copy of the game, so I could just throw it
Does
in
it
there.
come with an upgrade? I thought it was like the whole thing. PlayStation didn't have like an upgrade.
No, with
it
PS4
does.
you get a free upgrade. I was asking
The
around
game
about
is
that.
also just absolutely gorgeous. I'm playing on Series X with ray tracing, and it's just like I can't think. This is like one of the best looking games I've ever played.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's something
high
different,
praise.
different from Starfield. It's like this is first
Oh
person,
God!
and
Why'd you have to
you're
name it
looking
again?
Well, I'm shitting on Starfield right now, Wolf. You should be happy.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm like, whenever I'm in a conversation in this game, it isn't just still faces. There's character interactions. People are doing stuff. People feel alive. It really helps the immersion.
Jet, you've also been playing
Oh yeah,
Batman Arkham Knights.
yes. So I played Arkham Asylum last year, and then played City this year. Asylum's still the better game. Well, we can't let anyone else say otherwise.
Yes, finally! I'm so sick of people saying City's better than Asylum. Asylum's so much better.
Oh,
It
City's better.
is.
No, okay, wait, what's the debate here? Okay, hang on, a small debate here. Asylum is a tighter design game. I think City is just like an open world for the sake of it being an open world. I don't like exploring that world as Batman. I just think the city is so cramped that I feel like I can't really
I mean,
do the
this is
gliding
not really
that I
a
really love.
city. Like, it's not like a full blown
Well,
city.
I
Like
know it's not
Night
a.
is. It's like a.
Uh,
Well, I'm not gonna
well,
get
that's
into
my thing
spoilers,
though.
yeah.
Just in general, it's not a city. I know what you mean there, but I just think in general, like exploring that area is not nearly as interesting as kind of that Metroidvania design of Asylum.
I agree to disagree.
Yeah.
It was really nice spreading your wings as Batman, so to speak, compared to like the super tight, thought out designs of Asylum.
That's fair enough.
Also, because
Jet.
Asylum's a Metroidvania, pretty much.
Yeah, I think I just have Metroidvania bias. Let's be real here. What about? But Jet, you continue.
Yeah. Oh yes. So yeah, about Arkham Knight. So this game I've been playing on Steam Deck looks very beautiful, and like I've been enjoying it. It feels familiar, but there's this new thing they added, the Batmobile, which it feels more like you're driving a tank than a Batmobile, and like some of it's fun, but sometimes I feel like the tank missions just become a little bit longer than they have to be because like I want to move and become Batman, beat up the thugs again.
Yeah, that's like the biggest complaint I always hear about Arkham Knight is just everything involving the Batmobile.
That's it, dude.
Yeah.
It's the reason I still haven't played it. Is very much like my issue with City was the open world. And the Knight's like it's a bigger open world. It's like no, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah,
They went pretty hard
it's
with
a
the
better
Bat Tank
open
at
world.
night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And there's these investigation missions which you have to do where like Batman's like piecing together stuff. Like he finds this door. He's like, oh my god, this is how everything happened.
Interesting. I need to jump it tonight one of these days. I mean, I might as well. I have Origins still to play as well. There's a lot of Batman to get to.
Yeah.
All right, and obviously we got to get ready for Suicide Squad. That's why.
Oh, yeah.
God bless. Moon, what have you been playing?
I'm still trudging away at Azure. I think I'm over the halfway point now because I'm in chapter 4 and there's only 5 chapters and things are picking up, but I won't go in much into it because spoilers and all that. But I'm definitely really enjoying it. It's probably going to be in my top 5 for the year, especially at least for 2023 releases because technically
what?
this is a 2023 release.
Wait.
What? What?
I feel like you've barely played and talked about this game. Every time I see you talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, I'm still playing it. And I was like, it's in the top 5 of the year. It's like, damn, okay.
It's because finally the
It's
story
that
picked up,
good.
and that seems to be a Trails thing. Is that it's a very slow burn at the beginning. Then once you get over like the halfway point, everything the shit starts hitting the fan, and you got like 3 different storylines all happening at the same time.
God. Well, interesting. That's interesting. Man, you tell me. Wait, so the story just doesn't pick up until the second half? Is it not good
Well,
until then?
It's more like
build-up.
you're living in the day-to-day stuff. You get like breadcrumbs of like what is the overarching story, and then you get over like the halfway point of like chapter 3 or so, and then everything just starts happening all at once. Like it's actually very interesting. In like chapter 3, you're literally doing your day-to-day like missions of like the chores around the city, the quests and all that. And all of a sudden, oh yeah, now suddenly the city is under attack by terrorists. Again, suddenly the story is just picking
Oh,
up
yeah.
after that.
Is the gameplay good?
It's as about as tried and true as all the other past Trails games. So
Okay, so it's the
as
same.
yeah, it's the
That's interesting.
same. But I know things change up a bit in Cold Steel because they went to like 3D and all that. So I'm guessing they changed a lot. I don't know. We got the 2 other Trails people here to confirm that.
You know, they're silently watching.
Judging.
Kind of.
Quiet.
I'd say 3 and 4 changed the combat the most in the series so far, but I know the upcoming Daybreak game really takes things into a different like kind of combat
Yeah, I know
style.
Daybreak changes a lot,
Daybreak
but
is completely-
does
Another one.
That series is actually
does,
going on.
does Cold Steel 1 and 2 like differ much from like Azure?
I'd say Azure's better.
Yes and no. Yeah, I agree with Bench
But I'd say
for Cold Steel 1 and 2.
I'd say 3 and 4 though. 3 and 4 though, they really changed a lot, and it's a lot more polished and refined, and it just feels better to battle. So I'd
So
say
Cold Steel
3
1
and
and 2 is a
4
lot more
probably
the
best.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Cold Steel 1
interesting.
and 2 also don't look great, but
Because they're Vita
3 and
games.
4 I think. Yeah, 3
No,
and
they
4
were,
I do think
PS3
look good. Well, Vita first. They were made for Vita, then ported.
You're insane. What? Hang on, I gotta check that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
it was a portable only series for a while, I think.
Real
So-
quick, question for the panel here. I went on how long to beat because I was curious. Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 60 and a half hour main story.
It
Yeah,
took me
Yeah,
well,
that's
45.
a JRPG, all right.
It's
It
like
took me
I just like
45.
come on, you can't tell the same story in 40 hours. Like I don't know.
Well, not really. The way
What
that
are
Trails
these?
is formatted is so unique that it has to be drawn out like that. And it doesn't always feel like it's super drawn
I
out.
agree. No, but also like you can be faster than them. Like I beat it in 45, 2 I beat in 30, 3 I beat in that was 60, and then 4 was 60.
Yeah, I think
See,
But
two-
Cold Steel
a lot of people.
Cold
Sorry,
Steel
go
4 has like a time to beat of like it's ridiculous the time to beat, and I beat it in like 40 hours. Granted, it's me
Okay.
we're talking about, but the fact I'm able to beat it that fast is still saying a lot.
Hey,
Is your
friends,
Zero
how's of the
is Zero and who?
sorry, I just want to mention this. So as he said, so main story for Cold Steel 4 is 65 hours, and the main plus extra is 105.
Big difference there.
100 Oh my god, what is the extra? What do you do? Man,
It's,
you know,
the one
yeah.
actually is replaying the entire game. They do that
I
a lot.
promise you guys. I promise I will play Trails in the Sky too. You know, the second game in the series. Meanwhile, over here, everyone else is on like the 8th. So God bless.
I'm actually on the 10th. Once I
I'm on the
start.
11th.
Oh, okay.
right now.
Okay. My bad. What a series! What a series. Jet, Jet, please, my other JRPG, not hater, but like not as over the moon. Please tell me I'm not crazy for saying 60 hours is a lot of time for a video game.
Dude, there's a reason why I haven't started. I mean, I know you're a big fan of this one, Red Dead, because of the length, but
I get it. It's fair. It's a long game. Rockstar is the only one I'll be like, you know what? Go ahead. You can do whatever. But man, you've also is that all you wanted to say about Trails, or
Yeah,
is that-
because everything else is like spoiler talk, so I can't
I
really
get
say
ya.
much else.
Yeah, but you got a demo here as well, Silent Hope.
Yeah, Silent Hope. So I checked it out because demo. Why not? This was announced during the last Nintendo Direct. It looked kind of interesting, so I thought I'd check it out. It is definitely Hades on a budget. Like, gameplay. It's that roguelite system where you go in, you get as far as you can, you die, you go back out, reload, like try to buff everything, go back in. They try to make it a little different because you have like instead of different weapons like you would in Hades, you have like different characters. So you have like the warrior, the thief, the magician, all this other stuff. I only played as the warrior so far. I only played like maybe 30 minutes of the demo, and I know there's a bit more to it, so I'll probably do another round with some other characters. But the gameplay just feels clunky, and the graphics look like it's a mobile game, so it's not very enticing to play. It'll probably tickle some people's fancy. For this definitely feels like Hades. We have Hades at home kind of thing.
Hell yeah.
But it's
Hades
cute.
at home is still Hades.
Yeah. So I would say at least check out the demo if you're looking for a Hades substitute, like until Hades 2 comes out at least. It might be up your alley. You might be able to ignore the like I haven't looked into the studio that makes it. Maybe it's like their first game or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's neat, but it's nothing like, oh, I gotta go play this right now.
So breaking news, as Moon was talking, Bench brought this to my attention. Coming from Tom Warren over on Twitter, the FTC says it will continue its fight against Microsoft's Activision Blizzard acquisition. The appeal argument is scheduled for December 6th, and the FTC will also continue with its own administrative hearing. And then he brings in this quote: Microsoft and Activision's new agreement with Ubisoft presents a whole new facet to the merger that will affect American consumers, which the FTC will assess as part of its ongoing administrative proceedings. At spokeswoman Victoria Graham, the FTC continues to believe this deal is a threat to competition. Oh, God bless
This is
you.
where taxpayer money is going.
God bless you, FTC. I respect the hell out of you.
They can still defeat them.
I think it's like, I genuinely do think it's just a show of power to say, like, we're going to try to stop it. But, man.
I mean, while true, it's also the negative effect of it, like the opposite, where if you keep getting... They have no argument, by the way. And if you keep doing this nonstop with no argument, and you're supposed to be protecting the public, like you're looking like clowns in front of the world, and you're gonna keep doing so.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a 90% chance they're gonna lose this.
If it keeps making them look worse and worse, then we're having less. Like they're gonna have less opportunity to argue against things that have better arguments. Like say Apple buys Disney, like they're gonna look less, I guess, competent in being able to block that. It's just, I don't know. This is a wild. Like I'm surprised they're going into this. It's interesting they specifically outlined the whole Ubisoft thing, because if you remember, Ubisoft said like, "Oh, we'll handle the cloud gaming thing." That was kind of the thing that the CMA really wanted to kind of maneuver with Microsoft in that regard. Well,
So
I think
so now the question is, though, does this delay the finality of the deal, or is it still going?
No, the deal's
through?
the deal's closed. Yeah,
Okay.
there's no.
Which, if you really want to get into it, the deal's gonna be closed, and if they start adding stuff to Game Pass, they're just gonna make themselves in a better position than they already were. Like this is such a waste of time and effort on everybody.
I love the idea of like, say in an alternate universe, the FTC wins this appeal. What happens? Are they just like, okay, give back
Yeah,
Activision Blizzard?
What?
Bobby Kotick has to come back to work.
That's exactly what
And Bobby Kotick's like, fine.
I forgot what the example was before, but they did have it before where they did win, and they had the company had to divest each other.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Well, God bless you, FTC. I'm excited to see more court proceedings. I'm not, but yeah.
I'm not even gonna pay attention to it. Like, it's clear how that's gonna turn out.
I guess that's everything in regards to the news. The extra news story. But now
you want me to
everything.
throw in another extra news story real quick?
Oh, here we go. Let's see it.
So this is more like hearsay, but it's at least someone mildly credible. So kind of bouncing off that Best Buy story we were talking about earlier regarding that they're going to be stop carrying movies and all that. But then the CEO of Limited Run Games comes out on Twitter and says, I've also heard rumblings that Wal-Mart is going to stop carrying physical Xbox games coming into the new year, and that they'll probably slowly start reducing the video game sections of their stores, which it also in lies.
Which is already tiny.
Which in lies with some things I've also heard because I'm in the retail space. about Walmart redesigning a lot of their stores, and they're going to be reshifting around a lot of stuff. So if it's true that this is on the horizon, that they already have plans to like reduce their video game section, and so that's going to be all part of their like remodel plans for a lot of their stores. So everything kind of falling into place that this probably is the first like couple dominoes of video games really kind of falling out of brick and mortar stores.
And it's also an important thing to note, specifically Xbox games. They've been shifting farther and farther from physical, so it's not too surprising that they're the first ones to go there.
Yeah. That's going to be weird, though, going into like a Walmart store and be like, hey, here's your Switch games, here's your PlayStation games. That's it.
Hell yes. Finally, a store for me. I'm going to only shop at Walmart. All right. Enough Xbox bashing. It's time that we get us home.
Yeah, so this is actually going to be one of our shorter episodes. See, we can do shorter episodes if we really want to. And the only way we do that is with
there was like 3 news stories.
Yeah, I know, I was about to say, we can only accomplish it with news stories that kind of be like, yeah, cool. Moving on. So hope you all guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that other good stuff on all of our platforms. And we'll be tuning in next week when a lot of us will probably be booting up either Mario Wonder or Spider-Man. Because, yeah, that's coming out next week. It's this time next week we'll be playing it. Crazy to think.
It's Spider-Man for me. I'm sorry.
Very excited.
Spider-Man for me.
Not sure.
Mario. Woohoo!
Yeah, Jet. Pull the Mario flag.
We got 2 Spider-Mans. We got 2 Marios. Let's see how this comes out next week. All right. So hope you all guys have a good night, and thank you for giving a slice of your time to a Slice of Gaming podcast. Say good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Mario fun.